moments of American history. Forrest Gump will always be remembered for Tom Hanks's portrayal of the titular character, a good-natured simpleton whose vision of the world and the life within it has not been corrupted by the world around him. His childlike innocence is endearing and compels us to fall in love with a character so alien to us. The film has many memorable moments. The inspiration for the scene came from the life of Sammy L. Davis, who served in the American Army in the Vietnam War and was given the Medal of Honor for rescuing 3 wounded American soldiers on November 18, 1967, when his unit was attacked by 3 companies of Viet Cong, a mass political organization that stood against both the Americans as well as the South Vietnamese government. In this video, we'll tell you all about the man who is the real inspiration behind the story of Forrest Gump. Facts presents, this man is the real Forrest Gump. Before we introduce you to the man who is Forrest Gump in real life, we want you to take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated about all our latest videos. Sammy L. Davis was born November 1, 1946 in Dayton, Ohio. After graduating from Mooresville High School in 1966, he joined the United States Army. Davis came from a family of military men. His grandfather had served in the Spanish-American War, his father had fought in World War II, and his brothers Hubert and Darrell had fought in the Korean and Vietnam War respectively. So, joining the Army after graduating seemed like the most natural thing to do to Davis. While Forrest Gump was teased for his low IQ, Davis had to deal with constant teasing in the Army because he shared his name with a famous American entertainer. He enlisted for the Army while he was still in high school. Since his father was an artilleryman in World War II, Davis decided to volunteer for the artillery. After completing his graduation, he joined the Army in 1966 and began training. In March 1967, on successful completion of his training, he was sent to Vietnam as a private first class. He joined the Battery C, 2nd Battalion, 4th Artillery Regiment. On November 18, 1967, Davis and another 41 men of his unit were sent to the Kai Lay area where they began working on the task of setting up a forward fire support base to be called Fire Base Cudgel for the infantrymen in the area. However, right after midnight, close to 1,500 Viet Cong soldiers launched an attack on the Army men in the area. Sammy's division came under heavy mortar attack. Viet Cong soldiers would have overrun the American soldiers had it not been for the river that separated the two armies. Before we continue with Davis's story of valor and altruism, we request you take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos. Back to the unfortunate night of November 18th. When Davis's unit was attacked, they were using a 105 howitzer capable of firing 18,000 Beehive anti-personnel rounds in each shell. When Davis realized the enemy was closing in, he took a machine gun with the intention of providing covering fire to his crew. However, just as he mustered the courage to stand up, a rifle round from the enemy unit hit the howitzer that Davis's unit was operating. The hit was so powerful, it threw the entire crew off the tank. Davis fell into a foxhole. By this time, Davis was more or less convinced that, given the number of enemy soldiers, his team would not be able to sustain a fight for long. He therefore decided to fire off at least one round from the damaged howitzer before giving up or being trounced by the enemy. Though badly hit as well as hurt, Davis fired a shell point blank at the Viet Cong soldiers who were advancing towards the unit. The Beehive hit them and they fell down immediately. The fight continued, and sometime later, an enemy mortar exploded close to where Davis was, sending him reeling down on the ground. However, not one to give up so easily, Davis staggered to his feet and kept firing one Beehive after another. When he had no Beehive darts left, he fired a leaflet-filled propaganda shell. Just when Davis thought there was nothing more to be done, he heard the cries of some GIs coming from the other side of the river. Davis realized the river had blocked some GIs on the other side. He didn't know how to swim. However, this didn't deter him. He climbed on top of an air mattress that he procured from the American camp and paddled across the river to the other side. Other soldiers followed him. When they reached the bank, they found 3 wounded soldiers lying by the side of the river. One of the soldiers had sustained a severe injury to the head. Davis gave whatever amount of morphine he had to the 3 soldiers and provided cover fire while other GIs moved the wounded soldiers across the river to the firebase. Somehow Davis's entire remaining unit made its way to another American howitzer crew. The fight continued, and during the remainder of the ambush, Davis sustained several injuries in his back and buttocks. Though he sustained injuries, he came out alive and was later sent to the infirmary. In the hospital, he heard the news he was being sent back home. However, Davis refused to give up, and instead requested General William Westmoreland allow him to stay with the unit. General Westmoreland granted him the request. However, since Davis was severely wounded, he couldn't be on the line. Thus, he was made a cook. A year later, he came back, and President Lyndon Johnson awarded him the Medal of Honor. The night-long fight in Calais that Davis was a part of served as inspiration for the ambush scene in Forrest Gump, a medical center in Saigon. For his bravery, Gump is given the Medal of Honor by Lyndon B. Johnson. In fact, the sequence where Forrest is seen receiving the Medal of Honor from President Johnson was created by superimposing Forrest's face on the face of Davis. After coming back to the U.S., Davis was promoted to the rank of sergeant and retired from the Army in 1984 due to his wartime wounds. In an interview, Davis said that a lot of things in Forrest Gump were built around his story. For instance, the location of the place where the ambush takes place in the movie is very similar to where Davis fought the night-long Calais fight. Similarly, Gump was shot in the buttocks exactly how Davis was shot in the area 30 times, and he too paddled on an air mattress just like Gump. However, a humble man, Davis does not take this depiction of his bravado on the big screen too seriously, and simply feels honored his life has been celebrated in some way. Forrest Gump did not only take inspiration from Sammy L. Davis, the film was adapted from Winston Groom's book of the same name, and Groom dedicated the book to his childhood friend Jimbo Metter, who provided a major inspiration for the role of Forrest Gump. After the film's release, one of the things about Gump's character that audiences took home with them was his unique speech and vocal pattern. According to Groom, he based Forrest's speech on his friend Metter's vocal pattern. Forrest Gump tells us that a successful film is not only about great writing or acting, it's also sometimes about drawing inspiration from the right place and using this inspiration to build a narrative that sticks with people. Forrest Gump did just that. It transformed a social outsider into an unforgettable character by drawing inspiration from Davis's tale of bravery and integrity. Did you know about Sammy Davis and his contribution to Forrest Gump? What makes Forrest Gump such a timeless film? Let us know in the comments section. We always look forward to hearing from our audience. And before you continue to another video, please make sure you subscribe to FactsVerse so you can see more videos like this.